It's another edition again. Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Good morning to everybody that's chosen us. Good morning to everybody that's given us opportunity to speak about football and sports to you, the best football tactical analysis channel on YouTube. Do not forget, with this number of subscribers and this number of months, I would say a big thank you to everybody that's chosen us from every part of the world. From the UK, here in Ghana, from Nigeria, US, Canada, every part of the world. I would say a big thank you to you for choosing us on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's exciting to bring you content creation on sports every day. That's the motivation after you wake up from sleep. I want to say a big thank you to you. If you've not subscribed to the channel, you should subscribe to the channel and do turn on notification. Subscribe to the channel, do turn on notification, subscribe to the channel, and do turn on your notification as quickly as possible. I think you should do so now. Pause the video, subscribe to the channel, and then do turn on notification. Then come back to come and continue. In the turning of your notification, make sure that you do choose all in that conversation. It's another day of consistent news of teams around the world. We'll tell you about the transfer market. We'll tell you about the various teams that are going on. Arsenal are in search of a striker. He's from the Spanish La Liga. His name is Poch. Very important striker. I told you Arsenal is in need of also a killer. Not just Chelsea. That's in need of a killer. And yes, they are looking away from Ivan Toney. They were looking at some point Domenico Solanke from the Chelsea Academy into Liverpool. And then now to Borja Mayoral, an important player for Arsenal Football Club that they want to look out for. Again, we are getting indications, big ones, strong ones, that yesterday after Victor Osimhen's agent, they tell people and showed his annoyance at Kavice Kvaratskhelia agent. He has also opined they are ready to go to Chelsea when that buyout clause of 103 million quid is paid by Chelsea Football Club. But hey, right apart from that, in January, don't be surprised. I know I've told you several times, but do not be surprised if the striker comes. Do not be surprised, because Todboli Baghdad Ekbali had flown in from the US into the UK to start preparations in the January transfer window. They have had meetings with the sporting directors, Shields and Chris Stewart and the likes. They've told them about the kind of players that Mauricio Pochettino wants and how they want to take it from there to Chelsea. Maybe going to the market for a striker and a centre back. I've told you how excited I am about Ousmane Diamonde. Can play a centre back, left back. Excellent player in that regard. He is with the national team at Ivory Coast. Mind you, Osimhen is also with the national team in Ivory Coast for Nigeria. If any deal will go on, trust me, it won't be done whilst the AFCON is going on. They would want to do it at the tail end of the AFCON. It's important, or when their teams are out. So they'll look at that, keep an eye on that as well. In the Jadon Sancho arrived in Dortmund, did his medicals, he's a new, he's on loan at Dortmund. They've also gotten Ian Matheson, another boy that stayed in England for a very long time, although he's Dutch, also in the German Bundesliga. And then quickly, we'll go into the conversations on Mauricio Pochettino and Chelsea and whatnot and everything that has to do with Chelsea Football Club. So yeah, thank you very much for choosing me on Fiifi-Manfred. Like I always say, if you're not subscribed to the channel, pause the video, go back, subscribe to the channel, and again, turn on your notification. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. It's an exciting morning ahead of the AFCON. And I'll tell you, we'll start with AFCON a bit, then we'll get into the conversation proper. Let's get going now. So, by way of AFCON debate, just start like this. The AFCON is a special trophy. It's a very special trophy. And again, if you have a team full of over-pampered European stars, then you go back and ask Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, Aruna Dendane, Didier Zokora, between the times of 2006 and 2010, where they chased the AFCON. Some even as far as 2012, chased the AFCON and never won it. And then you put that in juxtaposition to the Egyptian national team side of Wael Goma, that team, Trezeguet, that took the African continent by storm. Wael Goma was essentially a warrior. It's the same for Christopher Katonga and the Zambian team. It is a tournament that you play with a lot of zeal, a lot of verve, a lot of aggression, a lot of combativeness. If you come to the AFCON and because it's a group of fully pampered European stars who choose us and when to get into mood and play football, trust me, then that trophy is not for you. So if you're from Nigeria, if you're from Ghana, you're from every part of Africa who has a country in African Cup of Nations, and your team is just full of over-pampered European stars who are just going there just to choose which mood in which they would want to play football, then the AFCON is not for you. And I know the AFCON is not for a lot of teams. You would have to fight, you would have to be combative, you would have to be aggressive, you would have to win duels. I mean, we talk about lots of the times about tactics, but AFCON, you need more than just tactics to win games. Of course, in every game of football, you need, but it's even much more apparent when you play in the African Cup of Nations. So yeah, that's by way of our AFCON tidbit, and it's going to start in just 2 days in La Côte d'Ivoire. La Côte d'Ivoire is going to host a very, very, very big African Cup of Nations tournament. It's a huge one for them. They are going to host that tournament. Yesterday was a rival day. The Ghanaians were in there, Nigerians were in there. Every other nation that's playing AFCON is now in La Côte d'Ivoire, and it's beautiful stuff. Now let's talk about all the things we have to say in the foreign front, and let's get into it. Let's start first with the transfer conversation. So we start first by Jadon Sancho. I mean, it is a transfer that I've dragged for a while now. Jadon needed to play football. You remember everything that happened with him and Eric Ten Hag, the issues with Eric Ten Hag. He was sort of sidelined from the club. He wasn't allowed to play football. Now, all of a sudden, Jadon needed a way out, and Dortmund, his former team, are offering him a way out. He's going to go back to Dortmund, and then he's going to start football afresh again under Evan Thursday. Mind you, he had some very, very good times with Jude Bellingham and then Erling Braut Haaland in that league and at Dortmund. And this time, he's going to go back there and play some good football again. And I think that is good for Jadon Sancho, his entourage and his footballing career. Albeit, it's just a loan deal, and he's going to do his medicals and everything is going to go on for Jadon Sancho. Yesterday, I told you that Ian Matheson has also left London and had landed in Dortmund also for his deal with Dortmund. Dortmund are getting two very important players in there for the Champions League, for the league, to get quality in depth going forward in the league, and it's very, very important for them. Eden Terzic is boosting up the quality that he has in his ranks, and he's adding Jadon Sancho and adding Ian Matheson in that regard, and they are getting there to go and get a job. And it's very, very important that these two players get into the Dortmund team, and then they go together, and then they get to achieve their aims and their goals at Dortmund. Very important. So that's it. Yesterday I told you how Dragusin from Genoa chose Tottenham Hotspur ahead of SC Bayern Munich. Very, very important one in there for them. Eric Dyer, Joao Paulinho, Bayern are still looking for a particular DM. Noni Makwele, all of these players are very important that Thomas Tuchel is looking at to replace and get a DM for his team. Very, very important player, and that's exactly what they are looking for in Bavaria. Another important one in Dortmund. Timo Werner is in London already taking some cool pictures and training with the Tottenham Hotspur team. He's going to be a huge part of Ange Postecoglou's team, and in there they are going to get Timo time. Very, very important striker in that regard. Last night there was a big game. There was first of all the Madrid derby between Atletico de Madrid and Real Madrid. Real Madrid and Atletico de Madrid in the Madrid derby in the Supercopa España. But hey, yesterday a lot of people spoke about Madrid's mentality. People spoke about their ability, and you compare it to a team like Chelsea, where if they go down by a goal to 0, they are unable to come back. And it was even the same for Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. The first half, Fulham were very, very tough. They won the midfield battle. They were more combative and aggressive. Joao Paulinho again in the thick of affairs in the middle of the park. Won aerial balls, won ground duels. Ryan Gravenberch and the likes could not hold their own against Joao Paulinho. And then he did a job, got it done, played some excellent stuff, played some good football in there, and then they were able to go ahead. But hey, in the second half, Liverpool did come back. Marco Silva had said that, I mean, they were just saved in that game by Bernard Leno, but they are happy to go to the Craven Cottage with the 2-1 scoreline. Liverpool were always going to come back. And I mean, it is more of both, not just mentality, not just ability. Liverpool have the men. Look at Cody Gakpo. The ball was put almost behind him. He was able to slot in to get that winner. They turned outside, inside, and out. The quality of that midfield. They went into battles this time, won duels, and they were able to get that all-important win. And they are going straight to Craven Cottage. Chelsea will be playing Fulham this weekend. A very, very difficult game for them. We'll talk about that later. But hey, whilst they are going to Craven Cottage, they know that they have the advantage, which is important. While Middlesbrough will be going to the Stamford Bridge, but they do know they have the advantage, and Chelsea do not have the advantage in terms of the Supercopa de España. Real Madrid, quality stuff. At some point in time, 3 Chelsea players, Kepa Arrizabalaga, Alvaro Morata, and Rudiger, were in the mix of an own goal. Kepa actually scored an own goal. It was bizarre. But hey, Kepa is still a Chelsea player. He's going to come in the summer. I don't know what Chelsea are going to do with Kepa Arrizabalaga, but that's exactly what you look at Rudiger in that Madrid team, and it's exactly the kind of centre backs that a lot of teams need. The aggressor, the dweller, the combative player, the one that leads the charge at the back. Very, very important player for all of those teams, and a lot of teams don't have it, especially for Chelsea, and they'll need such qualities going forward. Madrid were able to win the tie. Very, very important one. They went down, they came up, equalized, scored. Good stuff for Madrid. And I think that if you look at what Ancelotti has done with players like Brahim Diaz, solid man management, and it's the stark difference between positional play and functional play, functionality of teams, how to get the best out of players, not necessarily pinning them to specific positions and zones on the field of play, but getting them to deliver. And then that's exactly what Carlo Ancelotti is doing, getting the best out of his players from man management, getting solid stuff from his players, from the fact that he's doing a very brilliant job with respect to how he wants to play, where he wants the players to play, and getting them to be functional in any system at all that he finds themselves in. Yesterday in their 4-1-2-1-2, it was solid stuff. They came up, won the game in a Supercopa de España, and Madrid are cruising. And I know that this season, Madrid are just an epitome of everything Carlo Ancelotti, from his days of playing football for Milan, from the days of getting the job done at AC Milan as a coach, and then now going to other teams in the world. When Carlo Ancelotti has quality, he gets a lot of things done with that in there. Yesterday also, Lazio versus Roma. Oh my, one of my favorite managers, Mauricio Sarri, was very, very important yesterday. He got a very good win over AS Roma. Jose Mourinho going into the anti-football stuff again, but it's Mauricio Sarri, and that has been consistently 9 games in the Roma derby where Jose Mourinho has failed to score in the first half. Mauricio Sarri's team were excellent, dominated the game, and they all got all-important results. By the 82nd minute in Bergamo in Atlanta, Tunco Maynes had made a 2-1 against AC Milan in the Supercopa de España. It's getting mouth-watering and exciting in the quarterfinal also. That's by way of update of all the things that came up yesterday, transfer market, everything that's going on, and now back to Chelsea conversation. First of all, Victor Osimhen is likely to get to Chelsea Football Club. Victor Osimhen is likely to come to Chelsea Football Club in January. And I'll tell you why, what has changed, and the fact that this is going to be very important. So, right after the Middlesbrough game, a lot of the outlet did report that, yes, Mauricio Pochettino still has his job at Chelsea. Nothing is going to go wrong. He's not under imminent pressure, and everything is fine. But there are 2 things. People at Cobham and Chelsea Football Club felt that Pochettino not playing Armando Broja and then playing Levi Cole at left back, that's something I disagree with. And you see, Pep Guardiola and the likes play a lot of players out of position, and I think that's essentially what the game is now. It's about what you can give the team, not just what you can do, right? So, but that's Armando Broja. Jackson is on national team duty. Armando Broja comes in. There's a game against Fulham. Pochettino says, hey, I didn't want to play him for a player that's recovering from injury. Play him in a game against Middlesbrough 90 minutes, and I'm going to play him against Fulham again. I need to manage his time. That's why I didn't start him, because he's going to start against Fulham, which I know that Fulham, in a game like Fulham, you need a proper centre back to occupy, a proper centre forward to occupy the centre backs and to put them under a lot of pressure, to hurt them, to push them to limits, which is very, very important, right? So now the owners right after that have flown to Chelsea. They would want to win silverware this season. They would want to at least be there and help get with us on silverware, to be the first step to something of the project that they are building. It is going to be a sense of success, a sense of progress for them when they're able to win something. So Todd Bowley, Baghdad Egbali are in London, and they are trying to sanction a purchase for a striker in January. I've told you about the strikers that Chelsea have looked at. They've looked at Ivan Toney at some point in time. They've looked at Victor Gyökeres. They've looked at Victor Osimhen. But they are in London right now. They are in meetings with the sporting directorship. They are in meetings with Mauricio Pochettino, and they would want to see how best they can get a player to come together at Chelsea as a striker and then push for it. Very, very important for them. But mind you, let me tell you something very intriguing. This is how Chelsea's transfer conversation works at Chelsea. It isn't just Mauricio Pochettino again. It isn't just one person like the sporting directors. Pochettino tells them the area in which he wants to beef up, the area in which he wants quality, the area in which he wants extra reinforcement. Gives him a list, gives the sporting directors a list. They go back and say, we can get this guy because of this, we can get that guy because of this. They make a short list of 3, and all the teams sit down and then come at an amicable solution and choose a player. Very, very important stuff for them. And that's the sporting direction of Chelsea Football Club. So Victor Osimhen may come to Chelsea. It is just a matter that this deal will not be done while the AFCON is going on. If it can't be done, Victor Osimhen has to be out of the AFCON. Nigeria has to be out. And they will assess him to see that he doesn't have any injury. Because if they do the buy whilst in the AFCON and gets injured, that's going to go against Chelsea. Mind you, Osimhen has had a few injuries in recent times for SSC Napoli. And they will just want to make sure that they do the right thing with the next striker that's going to go on. And it's same for Ivan Toney. I just don't think that Ivan is going to move in general, because Brian Mbeumo is out, Wissa is also out, and then they are not going to get any other centre forward up top for them to do the hold-up play, to play out from them, to hold up play, to score some very good goals from Brentford. And I don't think Thomas Frank will let Ivan Toney go in January as it stands now, which is very, very important for that team. So Chelsea are preparing for that big one in the league against Fulham. Mind you, just 5 points of the top 6 places, and Chelsea need to go on and keep the fire burning. The results against Middlesbrough wasn't a good one, but once they are doing some good job in trying to replace players, bring in other stuff, and I've seen a lot of the issues with Conor Gallagher. So you see, I said here several times. I remember when Conor Gallagher was in full force, and I said that Conor doesn't have a long-term future at Chelsea. Conor is essentially going to be a tactical weapon at Chelsea. He's the kind of player that you throw into games like big games to inject a lot of combativeness, inject a lot of aggression in the team, and then push them to do a lot of things, to be the trigger for the team. It's very important, however. But he's not going to be the go-to guy for every game, especially when you want to break down low blocks and mid blocks and whatever. If Romeo Lavia is fit and the 3 midfielders are fit, Chelsea goes with that, because there's a lot of variation in central areas for them. They are a trio of a complementing pair that can play and complement each other everywhere that they are on the field of play, which is very, very important in there. And I've said it several times. You watch the clips against Middlesbrough where Conor receives the ball, he's supposed to go for it, turns around, does the U-turn, takes the ball back, and it tells you exactly who Conor Gallagher is. More safety first as a player, not necessarily a kind of player that wants to take a lot of risks, break the lines, create chances, play some good stuff in there. And that's it with Conor Gallagher. So yeah, that's it for Conor Gallagher and Chelsea. And I won't be surprised that Chelsea are racing to get Romeo Lavia fully fit to get back into the team. Yes, guys, so this is where we end it here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube on today's edition. My name is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you very much for choosing me and sticking with me here on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. I will get back to you. We have a big preview of the game against Fulham for Chelsea, amongst other things, in the transfer window plus other clubs. I told you this time a lot of Chelsea stuff, but still a mix of other clubs, conversation and analysis in there, and it's a sandwich and a cocktail of everything. This is Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. If you're not subscribed to the channel, pause the video, subscribe to the channel, and do turn on notification. I'll see